Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Grenada Matters, and to everyone on the island of Grenada and across the world, welcome. I have with me returning guests, Dennis on the show, and Hudson, Dennis Charles and Hudson George. How are you both doing, gentlemen?
I'm doing fine for the time. I hope everybody's all right and trying to stay safe.
Well, same thing too, you know. I'm all right for the time being, but staying safe. And I come like a armadillo now. I just go in and go in quick. Going quick. No time for liming. There is no karaoke. There is no liming in the barber shop arguing and all them things.
You just do it on Facebook instead.
Yeah, I do it on Facebook. Yeah.
So, Dennis, how you been?
Well, everything is good. We are looking at the political fallout here in this country. It's been a terrible week, and I couldn't sleep for almost 3 nights as a news junkie. And I'm caught between, I'm an American citizen, right?
Yeah.
And but we have the same thing happening home too. So where do you go? I mean, it's bad here. Where do you run? We have no healthcare in Grenada. Do you go down there? And it's as, you know, it probably worse. So it's tough, right now.
It is tough. And as you know, in England, we have the most infected country in the world. Well, at least we're the best at something finally. We've got the most infected country in the world with COVID. We have the superbug. Plus, we've got something from South Africa as well. Oh, you got to bring Africa into it somehow. You've got to blame the Africans. So, yeah, bring South Africa into the new strain. So, yeah, we're on lockdown, from lockdown 4 to lockdown 5. The NHS is falling apart. And, yeah, we're in lockdown until March. And the latest news now is that they're going to be sending the vaccines into the UK for everybody by autumn. Everybody's going to be vaccinated by autumn. So nobody will be left behind with the vaccine. So, yeah, that's what's going on in the UK. Pleasant times.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And, you know, there are a lot of concerns in Black America. Well, I shouldn't say Black America alone, because experiments were conducted in other countries in the past. And so a lot of folks with my skin color are very suspicious of taking the vaccines, you know, very apprehensive. And there is history to it. There is a reason for that if you look back. So we don't know how that would play out. They could make any amount of vaccine they want, but we have to convince our people, you know. So Bill Gates is not somebody we look at very highly. There's a lot of suspicion around him, and he's buying and investing into those companies and all of that make drugs. And his children wouldn't take it. He wouldn't give them the very same vaccine that he wanted the whole of Africa to take. So I could understand why a lot of folks in the colored community, Black and brown, feel very hesitant to go there, you know.
I've heard stories that this vaccine will sterilize the Black community. That isn't good. So depopulation, well, if you can make the men sterile, then they can't have kids. And if they can't have kids, then and the kids can't have kids, then you know, that's what was it? The Fear of a Black Planet. Was there not a song about it by Public Enemy? So yeah, if that's the case, and this vaccine is sterilized and covered over as the COVID vaccine, then I don't know. That's not good. It's not good at all.
No.
Today I was asked the question, why are so many people concerned about the vaccine? I'm going to take the vaccine because the government know best. So, you know, there are those that get it and those that don't. And reading history is our best teacher. If we don't know our past, we surely won't know where we're going into our future. So if we don't learn from history, as history is the best teacher, we got issues. And now the story is that I've heard the whisperings on these people at the top. What they do, they can't do anything without letting you know first. That's the key. That's the golden rule. We have to tell you what we're going to do before we do it. Once we've told you, we can do any sort of monstrosity, but we must tell you first. So the whispers of mandatory vaccine in Grenada, the whispers of it, if it's a whisper, you can be guaranteed it's coming.
Yes, well, that is correct. I mean, the way we look at it is the NNP government, they are collecting millions of dollars. I think it's from the IMF or the World Bank to fight this spike in COVID. While at the same time, they are politicizing the fight against this virus by giving you masks with NNP logo and minister's photo or picture on it on your face. So in other words, if the school population, I don't know how many was the population in primary schools and all of that, let's say 10,000 or whatever, and you give all of that the mask to take home, you know how many houses you advertise to? That's a commercial you're doing. In other words, you are playing politics with a disease just to gain an advantage on the opposition, because the opposition, they don't have the means or they don't exist, put it that way. So again, it is not good. So it's like a joke. And the millions of dollars that they take, God knows what they're doing with it, because they can't even conduct a proper test to say whether you're COVID positive or COVID negative, or probably you have it and there is no symptom. You're asymptomatic, you know? So he said, what are they doing all that money? Millions and millions of dollars? I cannot tell you.
Very interesting, very interesting. Hudson?
Well, people have a right to be, black people have a right to be suspicious. When we go back into history, we think about, there was a time in the United States when they infected people with syphilis, and they told them they was giving them a vaccine. But the guys who did it, the scientists who did it, they wanted to experiment and see how syphilis react on human beings. And most of the men who got the vaccine, as they told them, they fooled them. They inject syphilis into them, and a lot of them become crippled. They couldn't walk. They lost their sight and all those things. And when the secret exposed, when President Clinton took office, he paid the family of those victims, and there were a couple of the men who had survived, just a very few. And one of the guy, the scientists who were involved in it, was a white guy with very blue. I never see eye blue like that. He said those days they didn't that black people were really human beings, so they explained them.
Yeah, they've mentioned before that whether it's a constitution or somewhere that black people are like savages.
No, you're 2/3 of a human being.
That's 2/3 of a human being. That's it.
Yeah. And also they went to Brazil once and told some black women they were giving them contraceptive to keep them away from pregnancy, but they sterilized them. And also that had happened, they sterilized some black women in Brazil, and they did that in India too with the people who call the Dalit, the untouchables. They were victims of that too. So I believe we need a COVID vaccine, like how we had polio vaccine, because the time when I was born, children around that time, and even some children after my time, polio was common. You born normal and then you start to walk kind of, you know, you become physically disabled walking. And in local Grenadian parents, you say, in Creole, French Creole, you say walking chukasse. So when they make the polio vaccine, they were able to save the next generation of children from polio. But still, we are, as black people, we got to be careful. We got to be careful. You guys could go ahead.
History is the best teacher.
Yeah.
We trusted them then, and look what they've done. There's nothing, absolutely nothing in their history that suggests that we should ever trust them again, ever. Nothing in their history, from the point of when they've come in contact with us to now, there's nothing. And I'm talking about the upper echelons of the world. I'm talking about those. When I talk about those, I'm talking about those that write the law and change the law. Those are the people I'm talking about. I'm not talking about your average Joe Bloggs that walks the streets or's got a couple of million. I'm talking about those people that can change the law and to come about, bring up this, as I call it, scamdemic. All right? Those are the people I'm talking about, and it's those people that should have never been trustworthy ever. And it's those people that are telling us the vaccine is good for you. Take the vaccine. I'm like, really? And I tell you what, let's see your family take it, literally take the vaccine. Don't give me a needle that bends. A proper vaccine. Let me see the vaccine and put it in your system first. And if you take that vaccine and it's the same vaccine, you got me on board. But when you're even telling me the pharmaceutical companies will not accept responsibility if you become crippled or paralyzed or dead, they will not take responsibility for it. And that's already a clause in the system. You can't sue them. And the maximum amount of damage is what? I think 250,000, something like that. When you think about that, that's crazy. And if you understand the story about the straw man and how much a man is or individual is worth via their birth certificate, if you want to really get deep about this stuff and go and research the straw man. And they're going to give you... Go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, what you said is on point. I mean, it is very correct. But, you know, when you look at the richness of where we came from, right?
Yes.
Let us talk about number one, vitamin D. We have sunlight, right? We have melanin. We have a lot going for us.
We do.
I just wish that we would stop looking down on our natural healing properties in some of the herbs that we have in the islands. Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad.
Dr. Sabi. Dr. Got a bad cough. Dr. Sabi.
Yeah.
Sorry, not COVID.
TV is what I'm talking about. So,
there we go, brother.
All of that. We have all of that. And if we were to use a lot more minerals and consume food with more vitamins and all of that, probiotics, right? We're good. Because we already have melanin. Most of us, you know, kind of tropical or subtropical, right? You know, so we have a lot going for us. We have to change our mindset. As they say, our greatest asset is our mindset. We have to move away to stay healthy. We have to move away from the fast food, the preserved things, you know, that we eat, processed meat. You eat a hot dog. Do you know what you're getting in there? Okay, you like burgers. You like burgers. Do you know what you eat? Do you know it's scraps that remain, what they discard, you know, that they take and they mince it back up and they put fake blood to look red and they give it to you to barbecue with a bun and you eat burgers?
I don't eat it, so...
Well, right. But those are the things we eat with a lot of saturated fat and salt. You know what I'm saying? And they season it up for us nice. And we, you know, you have a party or a barbecue or a birthday, something, burgers are junk, right? So in terms of COVID affecting the black community, yes, we get infected twice the rate as white folks. We have a lot of underlying issues, and we die 4 times more than the Caucasian community. You understand? So when you really look at it, when they say we are predisposed or we have some sort of inability to fight it, well, what we eat. Then you look at economics. We are at the bottom of the ladder. We work hard. We work too hard for a living. You understand? Rushing home, you're going to get some junk food. You go to Kentucky. Well, probably in the morning going to work, you go to McDonald's. Is this junk in early in the morning, junk out going home? I mean, where would it end? So our people, hypertension, diabetes, the whole 9 yards, you name it, we have all sorts of problems. And we look at television and we go, McDonald's have a sale, 2 for 1. You get burger, you get this, and we're eating all that fries, junk food, Kentucky chicken with all that oil. The oil is like lard. They melt it, they heat it, and they fry the chicken with it. Those things, so as if we are participating in our own demise. We are not health conscious. And if we are not health conscious, we cannot be wealth conscious, because there are two sides of the same coin. Your physical well-being is your health. Your financial well-being is your wealth. You know?
Absolutely.
So we have to change the way we look at things.
But the way we look at things, the way we look at things are celebrated. Even if it's not good for us, it's celebrated. The way we eat in the Caribbean, it is celebrated.
Yes.
Oh, well, I eat like this because this makes me a Caribbean. This makes me a West Indian. This is part of the culture. But you don't understand. It's going to give you high blood pressure. It's going to give you diabetes. It's going to kill you. It's going to shorten your life. But, you know, it makes me West Indian. You know, I'm West Indian. I must eat this food like this. But it's not good for you.
It's not good. It's not good.
And I remember having a conversation with a young man. Well, it wasn't a young man, but I say that. And he said to me that they gave the food to the way they fed the slaves was basically for them to, the carbohydrates said they had to be big and strong so they could do the work and work the hours during the day. That's why the foods were the hard foods, what they call them. The story behind it is because of slavery and making the black man work as a slave. Nothing to do with celebrating a culture.
That's correct. A lot of starch, a lot of salt, you understand? And we don't know how to let go of that and eat more green, you know, vegetables, leafy vegetables. We get a lot of stuff from beets and kale and all of that. Use for protein. You like milk? Okay, so, I mean, we have soy. There's a lot of things we need to do as a people. And if you boost your immunity, you stay strong. Corona is not coming, as Dr. CB said. Mucus is one of the biggest problems affecting our people.
It's in the colon. It's in the colon. It's in the colon. Any disease, as Patrick Dales, my brother, taught me, any disease is caused within the colon. Every disease is started within the colon.
Exactly. So we like what they give us, a lot of pizza, right? You get 2 for 1. The price, you're $10 and they deliver to your house. Okay, you get that. Full of cheese. Do you know how much salt there is in cheese and saturated fat? Right. We love that. It's not good. The whole fat milk. I don't know what you call it in England.
Skim milk. The big tub.
Right. Different grades of it.
Yeah.
Saturated fat. Right. Okay. Do you know what they make? Mucus. They make mucus. And where the COVID-19 the COVID-19 love mucus. Oh boy. So when it attack your lungs, what they get out from there? A whole ton of mucus. So you knock out all the oxygen. You cannot get enough. You fight to breathe. They put you on a breathing machine. You may make it, you may not make it. Most people, they don't make it. You understand? Mucus. But that is what we eat. We as black folks should not be consuming those things. So we are participating in our demise because of bad health choices. You understand? I would venture to say as Dr. CB, he tried his best. We have another Grenadian brother called Patrick.
Dels.
Right?
That's my brother. I just talked about him. That's my brother.
You talked to him?
Oh, that's my brother.
Oh boy, he is amazing with it.
Yeah, Patrick could tell you back in 2013 when I was in Grenada, I pulled him outside and said, brother, let's start recording what you're doing. And the story is from there. So he started recording his videos on YouTube, and that's how you know about Patrick Dels. Well, Patrick stuff anyway, but that's the man.
Well, Patrick Dels is known in Toronto, even among continental Africans.
Yes.
Because I meet continental Africans who ask me, where from or not? I tell them Grenada. They ask me if I know Patrick Dels. So I guess he have some linkage over there with guys from Ghana, Ashanti guys.
Grenada shunned Patrick. They shunned him. So I said to him, listen, what are you wasting time in Grenada for? Go and travel across the islands and show what you can do. Goes to America, goes to Canada. So it's a regular thing for him now. I think he
Grenada showing everybody what is local.
They ain't got no sense, man. They ain't got no sense.
Grenadians recognize you when foreigners recognize you.
Yeah, when you come
they don't recognize their own.
Yeah.
The only how you get recognized in Grenada, or if foreigners didn't recognize you, you have to belong to political groups that came into political power.
I was told when I was on the island that Grenada doesn't like to celebrate celebrities, and they don't like to create celebrities, but they like everyone to be on an even keel. There's no celebrities. So it's not the celebration of success is not something that I think either within the constitution, deep within the constitution, it's written that how they don't celebrate celebrities, that everyone should be quite just kind of.
No, it's not so.
It will be hard for them to gravitate to their own people.
Yeah.
You have to go outside and then come back.
It started with, we had to go back to Gary days.
Gary?
Yes.
Gary's days?
No, before Gary days, people like me were not allowed to vote.
Why?
Before 1951, to vote in Grenada, you had to own property, house, and so Gary is the one who bring the thing came with adult suffrage.
That's correct.
1951, Gary brought the change to Grenada, and then everybody could have voted. Before that, you have to own land and you have to have a house with glass window.
Well, not only
and property.
Tell him exactly how it was.
And then we are not human beings.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but what happened is that Gary defeat that class of people who were benefiting from that era. And he created his plantocracy. So he created his own era. But then now, the culture of that plantocracy didn't disappear. For instance, the government in Grenada only recognized people that friendly to the political party. So the NNP in power, if they have to give honors to like, the Queen give people things, right? Because we're still under the British to some extent. They will select people that are the political friends. You see? That's how it is. And then now, you have, again, educated people infiltrate Grenada in this indigenous culture. And they hijack the culture, and they will recognize their own type within that intellectual circle. But they doesn't recognize the real culture people who kept the culture.
Which is happening present day.
Yes, right now, presently.
Or past or current.
You know, my buddy, you know, one of these days we would do a topic on the first revolution in Grenada.
Okay.
Is well versed into it, but I'll give you some history to it. We could even go back beyond that to 1795, 96, or even before that, to around when the British took over, or even from Dupaki, you know, way beyond that. So we're going to delve into Grenada's
We
history.
have to, because I suspect that all back then is going on right now.
It is going on right now. You have one class of people in Grenada, right? You have one class, and they have a stranglehold on the Grenadian economy and the political system. Let me just make, for example, let me explain. The government had a two-tier policy with respect to COVID. One set of rules apply to everybody else, and for their friends in sandals, they could come through the back door. No matter. You understand? No testing. You don't have to be COVID negative. You go to the hotel, fine, no problem, and you could infect everybody in there too. So one set of rules apply to one group of people, but the best friends and the supporters are different set of rules. I could go back to last Carnival. If you want to call it Carnival, it wasn't really a carnival. It was like a rebellion or a protest, right?
Yes.
With the jab. Okay. So the guys in town, they did the same thing again. They said virtual. No, they were in the stadium. They and the big shot friends were in the stadium enjoying the mass, enjoying the carnival season, while the rest of the country locked down. And the people up not armed from the country, right? There is nothing. You're supposed to stay inside, lock up. But folks get mad. It's like too much, you know, it's too much. You're having fun. We see what you're doing. You're enjoying yourselves, and you're telling the whole country Carnival is canceled. There is no Calypso season, no nothing. So you had, I think they played mass in Sotes, Guave, had all the people on the streets and Davids. Everybody just ignore. So it's not the first time one set of rules for one group of people and a different set of rules for others. If you look at the economic situation now, right? I recently bought a car to send home. So I figure when I go home, I don't have to rent and pay $1,000 US a week. I could send a car home and I could drive when I you know, when I get back. Let it stay there until I go back again. Okay. In December, it turned 10 years. They say no. Your car cannot be 10 years. It has to be younger than 10 years, 9, 7, 6, 5 years old. But what they are doing is to benefit the same people who sell cars. And these are people that don't do anything to help the Grenada people. And they are killing you to purchase a car in Grenada. You have to get it brand new. That is to protect their friends who contribute to the politics, to the political campaign. So why would I, in America, I want to go home, I'm going to buy an old clunker and pay $5,000 to ship it to Grenada to break down on the street with me? What about if it's a car that I have some sort of connection to, right? Maybe it's an antique that I restored. I have sentimental connection to it. And it's, let's say it's a 1962 Ford, whatever it is, right? Why would you deny me entry? I am coming back with my retirement money, my 401k, my pension and all of that, whatever it is. But they make the laws to benefit who? The people who contribute to the campaign, the supporters. And you go around the country, you still have the DENIS. You know, it's the same group of people for decades over decades that have a stranglehold on the Grenada economy.
Well, can we go one step further and say it's like a network?
Yes.
But that network is across the world. It's a club. I won't go into more than that. It's a club. We know it's a club. It's a club. And you know, it's a good old boys club, or good old boys and girls club. That's what it is.
Yep.
But they won't show their hand, because I understand that on the island of Grenada, particularly, there's a lot of this underground club business going on. But I don't know. Maybe you both gentlemen would know more about this club than I
What
would.
I know on the ground is that regular guys who maybe the civil servant regular guys who have access to money. They're not from rich home, but the money is not bad money. It's clean money. What they do, they were buying Japanese car, and sell it locally. Now, Steels is an agent for car. Steel. I think the guy who is the present Minister of Health.
Yes.
Yeah, that's his people. I think it's his father's business. If not his father, it's his uncle. But I think it's his father's business.
He better go back to that. He better go back to that business.
So they import cars, right? Then now, I'm giving you true facts. The Japanese had put money in the banks in Grenada, and then how it is now, the bank no stable civil servant. So if you're a school principal, I get it from good source. My brother was a school principal, he pensioned now. So I get it from good source. So if they know, the bank might know, okay, I have a client, he's stable, he's a school principal, a stable, full-time, permanent civil servant, or whatever you're doing, but you're stable. They ask you to take a new car from the bank. So now the bank is making money from you. The car is going to come from Japan. And Japan is making money too. You understand what I'm saying? And what I'm telling you is two things. But the money comes through the banks. And the bank give you the civil servant the loan. So you buy the Japanese car. Yeah, and then the interest, the bank get, and the same company who put the money, they get money.
So going back to the point about the mandatory vaccines, I guess that with this same rule, that those who are getting locked on the lockdown, all those people that were not friends of the government, they will all get vaccines mandatory, and everybody else will just get on living their lives as if nothing happened. I can only assume that.
Yeah, it is always like that. And the other thing we have to look at is we normally see a drunken man would grab at a piece of straw. The NNP government is out of favor with the people. But anyhow, what they have on the side is poverty, abject poverty. Everybody, is handout, begging, right? So if the prime minister or any, let's say minister, whatever, all you need is a few dollars in your pocket, and you could give a couple bottles of brown Woodman and $40 to cook some food, some dumpling and breadfruit. So it doesn't take much to sway. When people, they have to make a choice to stay alive, it's survival right now. Yes. It is easy because just the desperation, the abject poverty. Grenada has over 60% unemployment. And then those who are employed, they're making much money anyways, underemployment, right? So it is easy to just fool them with a little handout. 2 weeks debushing. It's not a hard, the thing is, they would never develop Grenada because once the people become a little bit independent of the government or the system, they would not support them. So don't look forward to healthcare developing. They won't improve the delivery of look at the condition of the hospital and all of that. It's deliberate. They would not, and they're gonna make it hard for you.
The mindset of those who are in survival mode. Let's think about them for a second. Let's think about why NNP is great. For 1 second, I'm gonna change the actual the script for a second. Why is NNP great? Look at it from the perspective of somebody who is from a poor background or an abject background, from the background of somebody who is getting those handouts, from somebody who is living from handout to handout, week to week, from the Prime Minister himself or his officials.
Well, I think what happened I want to go back to what I think. What I observed. What happened is that in the post-PRG or the post-US invasion, we had new government, right? And so we had a new era. Bishop died. We had a clean slate to create a good democracy. The Bishop era had gone. So we come back to the drawing board where we should have a good democracy. But I think what happened is that when both the NNP and the NDC party come from the same source, because after the American invade Grenada, Judge Brizan had a political party. I think he called it the Grenada Christian Democrat. I can't remember the name, but Judge Brizan had a political party. And Judge Brizan was a founding member of the Jewel movement, an early member. And when Bishop and Code and them joined it, he left. And he told us he didn't trust them. They're going to steal the movement. And he was correct. So years later, so when the revolution collapsed, people were looking at Judge Brizan to be the next man in Grenada to take us forward. But when the American was on the ground in Grenada, they wanted to put somebody what they know they could control. Then you had a movement in exile called the GDM, the Grenada Democratic Movement in exile. Francis Alexis and Kit Mitchell, two professors. Kit Mitchell was at Howard University and Francis Alexis was at Kerrville University, Barbados. And they used to be traveling and talk to Grenadians in exile before the revolution fell. So they went back home to Grenada. I remember Francis Alexis asked Reagan to give him Grenada, but Reagan didn't give him. Reagan offered a guy named Dr. Alistair McIntyre, a Grenadian professor. He refused it. So they gave it to, that was for the interim. So Dr. McIntyre refused it, and they gave it to Nicholas Brafitt.
Yeah, Brafitt.
But then when the election was about to come now, the date for the election, 1984, I think it was 84, end of 84 was the election. There was fractions. So Sonny James Mitchell in St. Vincent called them the fractions, and he tell them, if they don't unite, Gary is going to come back. But I think Sonny James Mitchell had link with the Americans too. So Brizan had to join with Alexis and Kit Mitchell and form that thing they call the New National Party. Led, and the Americans select Hubert Blaze to lead it. And the reason why the party is called the NNP party is called the New National Party. Blaze belongs to the Grenada National Party, the GNP.
GNP.
So they just changed the G to the new
N, yeah.
But going through the time in the 5 years, Brizan left and Alexis went with him. And Tillman Thomas went with him too. Tillman Thomas was a senator in the first NNP government. He ran election and he didn't win. Winty Thomas beat him. But he didn't make him a minister. So he was a senator, but he was a minister. He went with Brizan and Alexis. But Brizan knew that even though when he left, Alexis would not want to be submissive to him. So he gave the party to, when the election come, after Blaze period done, Kit Mitchell won the leadership of the NNP party in a convention. And it was a parley school helped Kit Mitchell helped get the NNP party from the guy who formed the GNP party, a guy named Dr. John Watts from St. Patrick. He was the man who found the GNP party. So he helped Kit Mitchell defeat Blaze. So the next election, Breezen didn't take the leadership of the party. He gave it to Brafitt to attract more vote, and they won the election. And Brafitt planned to give Breezen the party after 4 years, but he stayed more than 4 years. When he gave Breezen become prime minister was too late, and then Alexis started fighting Breezen too. But what happened? What caused the division is I will use the word interpersonal relation skills. Kit Mitchell used a more interpersonal relation skill with the ordinary people. And he works his way into, he was the minister of mobilization and works and all kind of things. And he'll come in our area and say, okay, you don't have light, you don't have electricity, you don't have telephone. We're going to just get poles and we're going to give you, and he works his way up. Whilst the NDC party politicians, they were not as grounded as him. And then he became smart, but he was mind you, I will tell you something. Kit Mitchell is a GNP. A lot of Grenadians don't know that. Kit Mitchell won election in 1972 on a GNP ticket against a man called George Hostin.
That was
George Hostin.
Yes, that name sounds familiar. Who is that?
That guy was Gary's finance minister. He was a doctor. Dr. George Hostin. Brilliant. He died now.
Yeah, but there's something about that name, George Hostin.
Yes. And after Kit Mitchell lost the election, he went and lived in St. Kitts working in bank, and he ended up in America. So anyway, Kit Mitchell, roots of politics is GNP. Kit Mitchell, Selwyn Strand, Unison White Man, and a guy, I can't remember his first name, O'Neill. His name was O'Neill. He died in a car crash in Canada. He was either he had the PhD already, he was doing the PhD. They were the young men who run election for the GNP. Kit Mitchell had about 23 years when he did that. So what happened with the NDC and the NNP is that Kit Mitchell working way into the ordinary people, and he gave them handout. But Kit Mitchell politics is not for the poor people. It's for the rich people.
Yeah, but from very young in his political life, he has been infiltrating or working with people in the community, almost like a Pied Piper.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in there. Go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, Hudson, what you said is correct. But when you look at it in the long run, right? Yes, you can dole out food, cash on, what you call debushing. Most of the guys just stand on this on the side of the road. Maybe they cut a little bush, a little grass, dig a drain here and there, but they get paid for nothing. They stand up and they smoke and take a drink, right?
Well, they call that a walk.
Right. But when you allow this to go too far, right? When you allow and that sink into the mentality that we are supposed to get. No, you're supposed to work and make a living, right? You earn. But if you stand up and you're waiting for government to come, I'm supposed to get, and you keep giving and giving, take a bottle, you drink. All right, we give you some food, you get some dumpling, some breadfruit, you cook some brong dong. In the long run, that is detrimental.
But let me go into this the psyche even further. Okay, so these people that are poverty, right?
Yeah.
Then they used to go to church on a Sunday. They go to church on a Sunday, right? Yeah. And then they say thank you to God for all these things that are happening. But they're not thanking God for the food that they're getting. They're thanking Keith Mitchell. They're thanking the people that give them the handouts, right? So therefore, they're the gods. So there's a mentality there that these people are their gods. Imagine that for a second. So the church, as well, infiltrated by these people, they're just puppets. They're just actually making the matters worse.
Yeah, but what he did, his politics is not for the poor man, but he studied how to keep them in North America and in England, we call it welfare. So these people, that is the method of welfare for Grenada.
How to win friends and influence people by that's what it is.
Right. But what happened now? The rich people are getting richer under Kit Mitchell.
Yeah.
Why the poor people only get food?
Yeah, but wait. The rich people are getting richer. That's cool. So they're not going to try and kick him out of power.
No, they won't.
They're going to keep it in place. And the poor people also celebrate him because they look at him almost like a god because they're getting handouts as well. Why do you want to get rid of him? He's a great man. He gives me hands out. He gives me food.
Hands out. As Dennis said.
I go to hands out. I go to church on Sunday. I say thank you to God, and keeps giving me hands out. Keeps doing nothing wrong for me. He's doing great. Great NNP. So the NNP are great until the opposition can expose that. The opposition has got to be pretty good to expose that. And
we are trying right now to do that.
But how do you undo that? Because these people are satisfied with how things are. It's only when they feel pain that's when they will change.
They are not satisfied anymore.
Who are they?
What happened is that.
But who are they though?
Okay, they're not satisfied anymore. The chain has burst. How it happened is that the handout goes from, let's say, a woman who was getting hands out for 25 years, 30 years.
Yeah.
Now, the NDC come back in power in 2008.
Yes.
And they had a good education system. So Grenada have free education. The NDC gave them that. Full free education. So a lot of young people are educated now. So the Imani money Kit was giving them. If you're 18 and you're 20 years, you like that Imani money, you want a little cell phone, a little runner shoe, a little bling bling. But these young people now, they're in their 30s. They want a full-time job.
They want a house, a family.
They want a house. They want to get married. They're not like their mother again. They don't want to be single parents. They want to have a family. So the chain break right now. This is why Kit Mitchell taking the post of Minister of Youth. But the stable are already open. The young people are rebelling against. That's what is happening.
What you say is very correct because you can only fool people
for so long.
For so long, right? And right now, the folks who are rebelling, if you look at the job, right? When they went to the ministerial complex, young folks, those who played the job in Sotes, young folks in Guava, I heard they pelted the police with stones. They don't want Kit Mitchell and his people there. Young folks.
Yeah, but hold on. But remember, look at this. This is because it was causing pain to their pleasure. It was impeding on their pain. That's why they went out and rebelled. Exactly. But that's why they rebelled, and that's why they. But look at the other things that happen on the island. There's no pain for those things. When there's pain, the people will respond. But if there's no pain, and if it's not affecting me, it's not my business. Oh, I don't go sandals. It's not my business. I'm not interested. So the whole thing about the vaccines or anything else that's happening on the island, it doesn't affect me. That mentality until it squeezes me. Oh, I'm not going to have Carnival this year.
Livera and Bathway, you would tell me that Grenadians, we like to make a little noise. We're going to cook some food. We're going to the beach and we're going to have a good time. Play some calypso music. Fine. Yeah. We don't fight. We don't fuss. But we like to play our music loud and we party. Okay. And you would have foreign people come in and call local Grenadian police to come and shut you down and take him. So after a while,
see that there? That's where you're gonna get
that get to the youths. There was a young lady who went to Livera, And the so-called people who in charge of this whole thing send the security time up. We used to go to Livran. You could bathe whenever you want. You go to Battery. You don't have to go home. You go home the next day or 2 days after that, right? But now you have a new, I don't know, kid in town, all over Grenada, whatever they want, they get from the government. So the youths now is like, no, this thing has gone too far. You look at Sauterres with the breakwater. Their eyes are opening up. You had no money all along, right? You can't fix the erosion. People houses, the house is right here and the sea is coming right there. So it's just a matter of time. It will take the whole of Fort Pasture and all those areas under sea level. So the last row of coconut trees with the roots, the palm roots and all of that, that will be gone. One more wave, that will be gone. We're losing a whole, I mean, all the way going up. That's gone, right? So you cannot fix it. You have no money. All of a sudden, you have money to buy back Grenada. Who are you fooling? You could only fool people for so long. So I think right now, Kit is, I wouldn't like to be in his shoe. You understand? Because he has nowhere to turn or no more lie to make, period.
Well, I think the money they're using to enhance or restructure Point Sterling Airport, Maurice Bishop International, that money should be used to fix Sauterres.
Yeah.
Yeah. That money should be used to fix Sauterres.
I agree.
Dredge the waterfront, let the water go down into the ocean. Make it deeper, and then the tide won't come in.
You build a dead wall, like you have the long wall going from River Antoine Estate up to like towards River Sally. It's a long one, and you keep, you know. So there are things you can do, but you cannot tell me that you don't have money. You can't pay teachers. You cannot keep nurses in Grenada. They're going to England, right? You cannot. You're dead broke. Government don't. And then all of a sudden, you found, like you win the lotto or something. You found where you get that money from. You can't even show.
Where they getting money from?
No, they can't show where the money comes from. For me,
people know where the money come from.
Well, look,
the same people who will buy Green Lake are the same people who give them the money.
This is what I am saying. We you know, he never comes clean. He wouldn't fess up. He wouldn't be level with the Grenadian people and say, you know what? Okay, I made mistakes, and let's say a Chinese man gave us this, or whoever, you know, people, investors, or whatever you like to call them. He is not going to reveal the source of that amount of money. But lo and behold, that company, the shares, the majority of the shares would be owned by outside people. All of a sudden, they are the investors. Whatever is done is already done under the table. He doesn't know how to come out clean and say that is where it came from.
Well, he didn't call the buyer name, but if you had listened, I think 3 days ago, he defended repossession of Green Lake, but he said the government wouldn't keep it. But I will make it simple for you.
Well, he sold already. So
yes.
How are you gonna?
Yeah, but he wouldn't tell you. I will make it simple for you. I will draw an analogy. Now, I'm a Christian. I don't supposed to gamble, but I bought a lottery ticket. I want money, but I don't want my name to be on the television and radio that I won $3 million lottery. So you Ingram and DENIS, all of my buddies, I said all you want draw the money for me. So when you draw the money, all you first flashing on the television, you are the winners and you bring me my money on the ground. So the thing is that the person who gave the government the money to buy Green Lake from WRB, the government is going to tell the Grenadian people they sell the shares over to them. But it's the same buy, the same person.
Yeah, well, we know it's a big lie. A big lie coming up. But here what is worse, right? Here what is worse. That whole Sanders fiasco is, everybody know, it's in the open. The lie about the recent death of that guy, he went to Maribor, they misdiagnosed him, right? They didn't even know what, the man was full of corona, right? And it was horrible. It was horrible. And eventually he went back to the general hospital. He passed out there, unfortunately, and he was full of COVID. So everybody in his house and his neighbors and friends and all of that, God knows what will happen. Okay? So if you're collecting money from the IMF or the World Bank, as all governments around, you know, especially the small countries, right, to fight this pandemic, what is it are you doing? You cannot do a good test and get good results. I mean,
why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Money going in.
But why would you do that? Why would you do? Why would you do a good test? Why would you do anything? What chaos out of order? These people stand by this chaos out of order, right?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Because if it would be like saying to the pharmaceutical companies, "Do you actually cure anything?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the point of you? Because you don't cure anything. So the pharmaceutical companies won't make money. They won't make business because they don't cure anything, right? So it's the same thing here. Why should we do things correctly? Because if we do things correctly, then there'll be less deaths.
Yes, and less money. So
exactly. So
yeah,
let things remain a chaos. That's the whole idea, right? Chaos
the more death and infection you have, is the more money you can get.
Correct. Right.
That is what the problem is. And as I said before, I think on this show, on another show, we have to go back to drinking sour sop leaf. We have to go back to drinking gin and lemon. We have to go back to bush.
Dennis, it's not a problem. It's the agenda. I told you, these people will tell you what they're going to do before they do it. Or you have to be smart and say, right, we know what you're going to do. We know what you're about. Let us prepare for it. But these people, you're trusting a system that creates a problem, and then you turn around as create a problem, and then get the reaction from the public, and then go back and try and fix the problem that you created in the first place. Through slackness created the problem, right? Then you go to your government is slack. You go to the government for a solution. Oh, the government's got to do something. So they put in a solution of more slackness, creating more deaths. That's how it works.
Well,
go ahead.
They create the environment to join the club of COVID-infected countries, so then you get the money.
Correct.
And now, Mr. Steels is threatening Grenadians with, if you die of COVID, you're going to be cremated. Now,
they told him to say that. I feel so bad for this dude. I looked at him.
Go ahead.
I couldn't watch him because you could see he's pressured, like he has to read a script or something. I don't think it's coming from his heart, but they program him what he go there and say, because everything has to go through Keith. You understand me? And so he's just the attack dog up front, making noise, and behind the scene is Kit and the policies of the NMP.
I would be very interested to see what Keith's relationship is with Biden. That's the interesting relationship, not with Trump, but with Biden.
Mm-hmm.
How Keith's relationship with, because Keith's seems to have a good relationship with America. So I'd like to know how his relationship with Biden is.
We would wait and see.
Because I think that relationship is going to be very telling.
Well, you see what?
Or even better still, forget Biden, Kamala Harris, because that's your next president. That's the next president of America. Make no mistake about it. Kamala Harris is the next president of America, because Biden's not going to make it.
Biden he might make a year or two.
I don't think he'll make that. Biden he might. I don't want to say he might end up. I don't know. I think they'll push Biden to one side and put Kamala Harris in, and she will rule She will rule America with an iron fist. And how do I know this? It's because they tell you what's going to happen before it happens. So you just, that's what it is. You just need to know where you're getting your information from.
But you touch on international politics part there, which making very sense. Now, the Trump administration,
yes,
didn't care about Caribbean politics. You remember Trump called people, what you call them, stink hole country or
dirt hole or shit holes.
Shit hole country. And then the only country Trump wanted to go after was Venezuela for the extreme wealth. And he made a coup in Bolivia, but the coup didn't last. When they called the election, the same Evo Morales party came back and win the election. So that couldn't work. And now the European countries refused to recognize Guaido yesterday. That was Trump man. The European countries.
Yeah, for Venezuela.
They don't recognize Guaido anymore. So you could see there is a change coming from Washington as Trump is fading out. And Trump also overthrew the president of Guyana, whether he rigged the election or not. Trump said he didn't want him. He didn't want the black guy. he wanted the Indian party inside. He didn't want the black party because Guyana have a lot of oil. And maybe the one who offered him the bigger deal.
They sold the oil in Guyana. Every $1 of oil revenue, Guyana gets 2 cents.
Yeah, something like that.
Penny, 2 cents.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Just imagine you have all these big companies extracting all your wealth out of there, right? And even if you didn't put up R&D, research and development and drilling costs and all of that, I understand that. But you didn't even go 50-50. You're getting penny out of every dollar.
Every dollar.
Oh, God, man.
So it's lots of politics.
Which leads us into our next conversation about Africa pulling away from Europe. And Dennis, I'd love you to lead us into this, but the fact that Africa wants to sort of pull away from European ways and having an African Union, it's something that's very interesting because I would like to see it for CARICOM, but will it happen? Can it happen?
It could happen for CARICOM. I mean, I think I'm going to be a little bit more vocal and talking about that. And I am glad that this young man finally realized that a long time ago, Africa should have carved out their own identity. You cannot have 50-something presidents, God knows how many princes. Everybody want to be a king here and a chief there and all of that. So, I mean, it is so disjointed and cut up into pieces. There is no coherent policy possible. You cannot have, they are not Africa conscious. It is my village, my people, my tribe. So tribalism and territorialism is what run the show in Africa. So that is why years ago, the foreign people were able to put this tribe against that tribe, put that tribe against the other one. And when you raid, bring them, we sell them for slaves, you get money. And all of that is tribe. So they see themselves first as, I belong to that tribe. Forget, you know, I'm in Nigeria, or I'm in Niger, or I'm in whatever, Burkina Faso, or whatever it is. That is one problem. The other problem in Africa, and I know that's a big topic, we have to address it, is the impact of Western religion. I'd tell you that history I know. One of the richest men who ever lived, even in today's term, Bill Gates had no money than him. Not even Elon Musk. From Mali, Timbuktu. Mansa Musa.
Mansa Musa, that's the man.
Right. That guy, because that whole area there, used to walk and pick up gold on the ground. He converted to Islam. And for those of you out there, I am not attacking anybody. I'm just stating facts from history, right? So I don't want anybody come after me. And I'm not defiling religion or whatever. I don't even want to talk about that. But when he made his pilgrimage to Saudi Arabia, because he had to go and walk around this thing 7 times, he had camels, and I mean, he didn't even have enough animals to carry some of the gold and ivory and all the minerals that he had to take to go up there. He wants to go to paradise. You could read it, you could Google it and watch.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Caravans upon caravans, right, of wealth from that whole. So it's like Mali, what you call Niger area, Niger, yeah, Burkina Faso, all that whole area in West Africa, right? He controlled that, and of course we had the learning center, Timbuktu.
Timbuktu was the university.
The university with all the libraries and all the ancient stuff. So he did all of that and took every ounce of wealth and go. At one point when he passed through Egypt, the price of gold fell. It was so much gold he was giving away, right? There was a glut on the market. And here what happened. When he finished with Saudi Arabia and he went to wherever he had to go, Mecca, go around, you know, the Hajj stuff. On his way back, he had to borrow money to get back to Timbuktu.
He gave out too much.
Yes, he went back broke.
Yeah.
To this day, Timbuktu could never reclaim its former glory, if you look at history.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on and on and on. Our people. So you look at the whole of Africa, especially Northern and Western Africa. And how come you don't have an indigenous religion or belief system? You have a little Coptic Christian thing in Egypt and on that western side. But then again, most of them convert to Islam. What happened? And if you look, while Alexander the Great came in and destroyed the pyramids and destroyed Egyptian artifacts and all of that, he was the first major one that conquered Egypt, right? And after that, his best friend and probably his cousin, Ptolemy the First. So that started what you would call the Ptolemaic involvement in Egypt, or what you would call Kemet, because they couldn't pronounce Egypt. That is so, but they couldn't pronounce Kemet in their language. So we ended up with Egypt. The country is not called Egypt. It is Kemet. And all the traditions are Kemetic, right? So you talk about the 42 laws of MAAT and all of that. And you should live a righteous life. You should have virtue and you know, value justice. You know, if you want to go to the afterlife, like the pharaohs and all of that, they always prepare in the pyramids to go to the afterlife with all the what they have and all of that. So they're gonna weigh your heart against the weight of a feather. So they have the scale thing, right? So your heart go here and a feather. If your heart is heavier than a feather, you're guilty, you're sinful, you didn't live a virtuous life.
Wow.
So all of that, when the Europeans came, that is what they took. We ended up with the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not tell a false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not, all that thou shalt not this and thou shalt not that. In the laws of Ma'at is, I have not done so. I live a just life. It's 42 of them. So you want to talk about plagiarism?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, of course. Absolutely.
The 10 Commandments is a plagiarism of Egyptians' laws.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yes, they you know, and they condense it, and then the symbols and all of that. I mean, I could go on and on here. So I'm not talking religion because people would attack me.
No. Religion is a very sensitive issue. But you're right. African problem is too many tribes, as you said.
Too many tribes and foreign.
And the influence of Arabic and European religion.
I certainly think we should on this show look at what you're talking about there, Dennis, with the MAAT, and open that up and look at those virtues. Because I think if we do that, then we let people decide for themselves. But once you've got information you can best then be informed on what to do, how to think, and how to view things. Sometimes it's because these things are not readily available to us. So the human nature is to suck up everything that is just readily available to us. It's on the TV, it must be right. Our teachers are telling it must be right. We go to school, it must be right. So that's how we naturally move. And until we have something that says to us, hold on, ask questions, critical thinking, look outside the box, have a look at this, have a look at that. When that starts to happen, then we're better informed because we've got other things to look at.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Well, this is what is lacking in Grenada. Critical thinking.
But
no,
you say critical thinking, but how does it get to that point?
Well, to come to critical, for you to come to critical thinking,
yes,
you have to arm yourself with knowledge. And when you get some knowledge, you cannot box yourself in that knowledge you got and refuse to sit down and discuss with others with knowledge. Because if you don't do it, you become like you feel you all alone what no, and that's where you're going to fail. So you don't have good reasoning skills.
That comes back from the church.
Right.
Because in the church they tell you as a Christian that you should not look at this, you should not study that, you should not, this is witchcraft and that is witchcraft. But if they had but knowledge, witchcraft is the rebellion of the law. That is witchcraft, not Ouija board and stuff. The rebellion of. So anything that is against the law. So if you were hateful, if you're doing all these things that are not towards the benefit of humanity, that's witchcraft. Because it's basically witchcraft is rebellion. So when you think about it for a second, just the fact that you are ignorant is a form of witchcraft.
Yeah, you're out of the norms. But the point is that in Grenada is that guys arm themselves with a certain mindset. And they don't want to hold a healthy conversation.
But wait, not being funny, but are these people, and I'm not being disrespectful, do these people travel? Have these people seen outside? Are these people seen outside of Grenada?
I think they're dogmatic. Dogmatic.
Very, very hard to change. But you know what I'd say, Hudson? Yeah. You see this show that we're doing here now, StreamYard.com. I would like to post quite a lot of it on the other platforms and expose folks to critical thinking, like how we reason here. We have different people, how we reason, to show them where we came from and some of the things, because they box us in you know.
Oh, wait, hold on. But stop. We're foreigners. We are foreigners, remember?
Well, that's good.
You're a foreigner, you're a foreigner, and I'm definitely a foreigner. So we don't know what we're talking about because we're foreigners. We don't know.
That is true too. We have to find a way to dismantle. It's gonna be a slow. To be honest with you, look.
Divide and conquer. Where does it come from? Where does divide and conquer come from? Where does it come from? It comes from the same people we're talking about. Divide and conquer. Where does it come from?
No, we got work to do. You have work to do with the platform that you have and the knowledge that you have, the ability to dispense information. I don't have a platform like that, but as I said, I'd make and I'm very happy to have met you, to be honest with you. I'll give you my number too. And we would continue the struggle to uplift, to educate, and to inform.
Let me change that. Let me change that language. We shall overcome.
Yes.
No struggle. No struggle. Because that's a conflict of conversation. We shall overcome.
We shall overcome.
That's it.
Very best I can. And I know
no. Brother, it's already done.
Right.
It's a done deal. If you put your mind to it, it's done.
We're gonna get it done.
We are gonna get it done. That's it. That's the spirit. That's the spirit, my brother.
Anyway, we could close now.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Mr. Charles, do you have any final words before we go tonight?
Yes, what I want to say to my fellow, not only Grenadians, but people across the globe looking at this program, I'm very honored to be part of this panel. There is a lot we need to talk about, but first, I want to say believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
Go back to your identity. Find where you come from. Know your history. Dig. Everything is on YouTube and Google. Dig. Find your past. And with that knowledge, there is power.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Hudson.
Well, I will advise Grenadian to start thinking out of the box, learn more civics and social studies, whatever education you have, whatever skill you have, social studies, civics, and good reasoning will help you. It doesn't matter how intelligent you are, if you doesn't have that basic thing, you're not ready yet. You got to develop those things.
Just before I close, here's a little piece of information you might not know, Dennis. The Book of MAAT that you talk about, the oldest, I believe it's the oldest book, I believe. The Book of MAAT, the actual republished version of it was done by a brother of mine. He did the book, yes, and I've got about, I think about a 15-minute or to an hour interview with him on this channel. Yes. So I'll forward that over to you as well.
Okay, send it to me because I'm deep into Kemetic traditions.
Kemetic, yes.
Dr. Clark, John Clark.
Yes, of course.
Yes. John Clark.
John Clark, yes.
Dr. Ray Higgins.
Oh, what about Yusuf? I think
Yusuf Ben Yakanam.
That's the man. That's the man.
Sometime, but I follow all of them as far as our history as a people, you know. So on your platform, I think we could do quite a lot, and we will.
Absolutely, it's there. It's the information's there, brother.
All right, guys.
Yeah, man.
Thank you all.
All right.
Grenada and the rest of the world, thank you for watching as always. This has been Grenada with Dennis Charles, Hudson George, and myself, Ingram Jones. Okay. See you next week.
As you put it up, we'll share it.
Yes.